The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum robbery, one of the most infamous art thefts in history, took place in the quiet streets of Boston on a cold March night in 1990. The museum, a revered institution in the art world, was home to a treasure trove of masterpieces, ranging from works by Rembrandt and Vermeer to pieces by Titian and Degas. The collection, which had been carefully curated and assembled over decades by Isabella Stewart Gardner, was as much a symbol of the museum's legacy as it was a testament to the extraordinary wealth and passion of its founder. Gardner, a wealthy socialite and art patron, had established the museum not only as a collection of art, but also as a personal expression of her tastes and ideals. She had always been a staunch advocate for the preservation of art, and it was with that same passion that she meticulously arranged the works in her museum, ensuring each piece told its own story, was placed in its own intimate space, and was meant to be enjoyed by those who understood its importance. It was into this world of beauty, history, and priceless artifacts that the criminals would break that fateful night. On the evening of March 18, 1990, two men, disguised as police officers, entered the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, catching the night guards off guard. The men had no weapons in hand, and their approach appeared to be a standard police procedure, a routine check of the building, perhaps a response to an earlier call or an apparent disturbance. But nothing was routine about what they were about to do. The guards, unaware of the magnitude of what was unfolding before them, were not suspicious. The robbers made their way into the museum without raising alarms, and once inside, they quickly subdued the guards. They were handcuffed, blindfolded, and led to the museum's security office, where they were forced to wait as the thieves embarked on their mission. The plan was swift and precise. The robbers knew exactly what they were after: a set of specific, highly valuable artworks. They also targeted works by Rembrandt, a name synonymous with the highest quality of painting. Among the stolen pieces were The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, Rembrandt's only seascape, and A Lady and Gentleman in Black, another portrait that would later become a symbol of the robbery. In total, 13 works of art were taken that night, valued at an estimated $500 million at the time, making it the largest property theft in the history of the United States. The thieves seemed to know precisely where the museum's greatest treasures were housed. They took their time, carefully selecting pieces to steal and ensuring they were removed from the walls with minimal damage. The entire operation lasted about 81 minutes, and during that time, the thieves made their getaway without a single shot being fired or an alarm being triggered. The robbers left behind a scene of eerie calmness in the museum, as though nothing had happened at all. Once the thieves had taken their prizes, they vanished into the Boston night, leaving the museum staff and the city in shock. In the hours that followed, the authorities were alerted, and soon after, the investigation began. For the investigators, the case seemed as though it would be an open and shut affair. The robbers had left behind plenty of clues, a perfect trail, one might say, for any good detective. The guards, though traumatized, had been able to provide detailed descriptions of the men who had arrived at the museum. But despite the apparent wealth of evidence, the investigation stumbled. The men who committed the crime had been careful not to leave behind fingerprints or other traces of their identities. Their costumes, though seemingly authentic, were never traced to any known police department. As the weeks and months passed, the case grew colder, and the public's interest began to wane, though the theft remained a dark shadow hanging over the museum and Boston. The robbery captured the imagination of the public in a way few art thefts ever had. It was not just the scale of the crime that intrigued people, but the audacity of it. The sheer boldness of walking into a world-renowned museum and walking out with some of the most iconic works of art in history was enough to keep the story in the news for years. But as the years went on and no major breakthroughs emerged, the mystery grew deeper. Who were the thieves? How had they planned the heist? And where were the stolen pieces? For a time, it seemed as though the answers would never come. Theories began to proliferate about the identity of the thieves. Some believed they were part of a larger international crime syndicate, while others speculated that they were simply amateurs who had stumbled upon a golden opportunity. The notion that the art had been taken for personal gain was tantalizing, but it also seemed unlikely given the scale of the heist. No ransom demands were ever made, and no one came forward to claim the works. The idea that the pieces had been taken for private sale, or that they were hidden away in some dark corner of the world, only added to the mystique of the crime. In the years that followed, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies dedicated significant resources to solving the case. A task force was established to follow leads, track down potential suspects, and chase down any tip that could crack the case wide open. But the trail went cold. The stolen paintings, despite being among the most recognizable works of art in the world, seemed to have vanished without a trace. For decades, the case remained unsolved, and the museum was forced to grapple with the loss of its treasures. In the years after the robbery, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum underwent a dramatic transformation. It became not only a symbol of the robbery, but also a place of mourning for those who remembered the museum as it once was. The empty frames on the walls, where the stolen masterpieces once hung, became a haunting reminder of the crime. And yet, despite the loss, the museum remained open to the public, continuing its mission to showcase art and educate visitors about the importance of preserving cultural treasures. In many ways, the theft only added to the mystique of the museum, and its allure continued to grow. As a result, as time passed, the story of the robbery became an enduring part of Boston's history. It was the subject of documentaries, books, and articles, each offering a new angle or theory about what happened that night. Some suggested that the theft was part of a larger pattern of art thefts, while others believed that the stolen works were hidden away by the criminals, waiting for the right moment to be sold or auctioned. Over the years, several prominent figures were linked to the crime, but no one could say with certainty who the thieves were or what had become of the missing paintings. Despite the passage of time, the mystery remained. In 2013, a breakthrough of sorts came when the FBI released a new set of details about the case, including a possible connection to organized crime. The agency stated that it believed the stolen works had been taken by members of a criminal group with ties to the New England area. This revelation reinvigorated public interest in the case and sparked renewed efforts to solve the mystery. Yet, despite the renewed focus on the investigation, the stolen art has never been recovered. In the years since the theft, there have been occasional claims and rumors about the whereabouts of the paintings. Some have suggested that the works were hidden in a private collection, while others believe they may have been sold on the black market. There are also theories that the paintings were destroyed or discarded, but no concrete evidence has ever emerged to confirm any of these theories, and the question of where the stolen art ended up remains one of the most enduring mysteries in the world of art theft. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum robbery remains a case of tantalizing possibilities and unanswered questions. The loss of the art is a tragedy not just for the museum, but for the world of art as a whole. The stolen pieces were not just valuable in terms of their monetary worth, they represented the very soul of the museum, and their disappearance marked a profound loss for the public and for future generations. But even as the years go by, the story of the robbery endures, a reminder of the fragility of art and the lengths to which some will go to steal it. The mystery of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum robbery continues to captivate the public's imagination, and it seems that the case may never be fully resolved. But perhaps that is part of the allure, the unanswered questions, the lingering sense of loss, and the tantalizing possibility that one day, someone will uncover the truth and reveal what happened to the stolen masterpieces. Until then, the story of the heist will remain one of the most infamous and enduring chapters in the history of art theft, a tale of ambition, mystery, and tragedy that refuses to be forgotten. Stay tuned for more captivating stories and mysteries from history. Don't miss out on new insights. Subscribe now.